Judges at Nuremberg often complained about the repetition that resulted from a four-power trial. Sometimes the international quality of the undertaking led to a fascinating look at the variation in perspective of the four prosecuting nations. Next, we hear an excerpt from the rather philosophical closing speech by Chief Prosecutor for the French, Auguste Champetier de Ribes. He begins by praising the International Court.
Grâce à lui, l'historien de l'avenir.
Thanks to it, the historian of the future, as well as the chronicler of today, will know the truth of the political, diplomatic, and military events of the most tragic period of our history. He will know the crimes of Nazism, as well as the irresolution, the weaknesses, the omissions of the peace-loving democracies. He will know that the work of 20 centuries of a civilization that believed itself eternal was almost destroyed by the return of ancient barbarism in a new guise, all the more brutal because more scientific. He will know that the progress of mechanical science, modern means of propaganda, and the most devilish practices of a police that defied the most elementary rules of humanity enabled a small minority of criminals within a few years to distort the collective conscience of a great people and to transform the nation, described by Dr. Sauter at the conclusion of his speech in defense of von Schirach, as loyal, upright, and full of virtue, into that of Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels, to mention only those of them who are dead. He will know that the real crime of these men was the conception of the gigantic plan of world domination and the attempt to realize it by every possible means. By every possible means, that is, of course, by the breaking of pledges and by unleashing the worst of all wars of aggression, but above all, by the scientific and systematic extermination of millions of human beings, and more especially of certain national or religious groups whose existence hampered the hegemony of the Germanic race. This is a crime so monstrous, so undreamt of in history throughout the Christian era up to the birth of Hitlerism, that the term genocide has had to be coined to define it, and an accumulation of documents and testimonies has been needed to make it credible. The perfect collaboration of the four public prosecutors has enabled it to be proved, to the shame of the times we live in, that this crime was possible, and within the limits of those counts of the indictment reserved for herself, France believes that she has done her part in the common task.